Good morning, class. Welcome to the introduction to linguistics class once again, and we are already on week 7, meaning that next week you will be having your midterm exam. Do not worry about the midterm exam because I will explain about that later. And now we should focus on the material for this week, which is going to look at another branch in linguistics. So every week we move from one branch to another. Yeah, last week you look at morphology. Now we go to syntax. Okay, so just a recap, when you look at phonology and phonetics, you look at the sound, the production of language. And then morphology, you look at the words. Now we look at syntax, and syntax is about sentence and phrases. So this is syntax, and syntax is different from grammar. When you study grammar, you look at the appropriate or the acceptable and unacceptable combination of words into phrases and sentences. So dealing more with the rule of combining words into phrases. But when you look at syntax, syntax is more about the study of the phrases and sentences. And people who study syntax will concentrate on the structure and also the ordering of the components within phrases and sentences. There is a notion which is called as traditional grammar. In traditional grammar, people describe language using the framework of well-established languages such as Latin and Greek. So the description of languages will use these labels: nouns, articles, adjectives, verbs, adverbs, prepositions, pronouns, and conjunctions. Yeah, so these are the labels that are based on these two big languages. Yeah, so I think we use this one in understanding languages until now. Yeah, so you know this one, nouns, which one are nouns, which one are articles, and so on. Okay, so there are two approaches in grammar. So the first one is prescriptive approach. So prescriptive approach is a view of grammar as a set of rules for the proper use of a language. So well, this is actually an approach to linguistics, yeah, an approach to understanding language. So the first one is prescriptive. Prescriptive is really viewing grammar as the correct rule. So what the rules say, you have to make that as a guidance, yeah, in doing linguistic study. But in descriptive approach, it is more a kind of attempt to describe the regular structure of the language as it is used by the people or by the speakers, not according to some view of how it should be used. Yeah, so in simpler words, yeah, you have two different views. The first one is prescriptive. In prescriptive, they really believe in the rule, and they will say that people who do not use the rule are wrong because the rule is the correct one that every speaker must follow. But the other view is descriptive approach. So describing, so more relaxed, yeah, like looking into how certain way of combining phrases, combining sentences, or saying things as they are produced by the community, even if the community use it not in the same way as the rules. You know what I mean? So this is more interested in describing the regular structure as it is used by the community, not based on the rules. Yeah. All right, so there is something else which is called as constituent analysis. So constituent analysis is a technique to show how small constituents go together to form larger constituents. And we use labeled and bracketed sentences, and then it's a step to understand syntax. Okay, so let me try to illustrate this. For example, you have a long sentence such as the big book is on the table. Yeah. So we try to see which are the constituents atau apa ya, kesatuan, which one go together in one constituent before they form a larger constituents or sentence. So the big book, that's one constituent because it refers to one entity, one thing, and the big book that's there. And then is the predicate, so you can leave it alone like this. And then on the table, that's the preposition, on the table. And then the table itself is an entity on its own, so you can put them on its own bracket. And then together, they make sentence. The big book, this is a determiner on its own, the. So the can stand alone, and then big book are together. So that's what is meant by constituent analysis. You look at small constituents can go together before they are forming larger constituents. All right, so now let's discuss syntactic structures. Syntactic structures, we have structures of modification, structures of predication, structures of complementation, and structures of coordination. Look at these two examples. Charlie broke the window. The window was broken by Charlie. The first is an active sentence. It's something done by Charlie. And the second is passive sentence. The window is becoming the focus. Sentence 1 and 2 are different in their surface structure. Jadi ada yang namanya surface structure ya. Surface structure di luarnya ya. Di luarnya berbeda karena yang ini active, yang ini passive. But actually deep structure inside they have the same meaning. That the window was broken by Charlie. Charlie is the doer, and then the window is the object that was being broken. So it's identical in the deep structure, but different in the surface structure. So this is the definition. Deep structure is an abstract level of structural organization, and surface structure is the concrete representation of the deep structure. We have something else that is called structural or syntactic ambiguity. Structural ambiguity or syntactic ambiguity is that one deep structure can always be represented in many surface structure. One surface structure can sometimes carry more than one deep structure. And this is causing structural ambiguity. Okay, so let's have a look at this example. The old lady hit the pickpocket with a walking stick. The old lady who had the walking stick, or the pickpocket who had the walking stick? Yeah. This is the surface structure. The old lady hit the pickpocket with a walking stick. And then when we try to understand the deep structure, we have this confusion. Who had the walking stick? Is it the old lady or the pickpocket? Yeah, so this is what is called structural ambiguity. And in order to really understand the deep structure, we use tree diagram. So tree diagram is a special type of graphic representation used to depict linguistic structures. Borrowing from a concept of a tree, consists of root and several branching nodes and branches. So the sentence can be described using tree diagram. This is the example. Sentence has a noun phrase and verb phrase. Verb phrase has D is determiner, and N is a noun. VP consists of V, verb, and NP. NP is noun phrase. And then NP is consisting of D and N. Yeah. And we also have phrase structure rules. Sentence NP plus VP. Noun phrase is noun. Verb phrase plus blah, blah, blah. So this is the rules for phrase. So these are phrase, yeah, noun phrase, verb phrase, prepositional phrase, ya. P stands for phrase, S to sentence, ya. Jadi ini isinya. Jadi kalau noun phrase isinya bisa determiner and noun, bisa juga verb and NP. Okay, so the book has better description for this one. And there are also some movement rules or transformational rules. Yeah. For example, when you want to describe negative sentences and questions, yeah, questions. So when the sentence is affirmative, that's easy to draw the tree diagram. But when it is negative, ada movement yang harus dijelaskan di situ. Jadi, what did Barbara buy? This is questions, ya. Ternyata ketika itu questions, ya, ada movement auxiliary yang sebenarnya letaknya di sini, tapi kemudian moving ke depan, gitu ya. So, yeah, you just understand this in brief, yeah, today, but later in the syntax class you will learn this better. But yeah, the take-home message from today's class is that you have phrase structure rules, which help you know what are the content of every phrase. And sometimes one phrase can have more than one combination, like this one, noun phrase, and NP and BP, noun phrase, D and N, yeah. And then there is a tree diagram, and you can describe any sentence using tree diagram. For example, I go to school, yeah. You have to draw it from below. I is noun, and then go is a verb, to is a preposition, school is a noun, and then P and N together, it is a prepositional phrase, and then V and PP here, it becomes VP, and then N here can form NP, and then NP and PP, NP and VP is a sentence. So something like that. Yeah, you will be able to practice more later when you look at the chapter. So there are more examples there, and then you can work on the study questions. All right. So I think that's all I can explain today about syntax. Thank you very much, and bye-bye.